Alright, well, it was another awesome day in the market today. A lot of the levels we talked about last night ended up playing out pretty good today, so we were able to make $550 today. A lot of the levels and things we talked about last night ended up working out pretty good today. Well, first this morning we had the CPI come in, or PPI come in, pretty much how we expected it to. It's the expectation was 0.7, but I said last night there's no way that's going to happen, and sure enough it came in hot at 1.1%, but strip out the food and energy in the core, still came in a little light, so the market didn't really care about that. But the Trump, oh yeah, so last night we said just watch, Trump will come out and say there's going to be a deal with Iran soon. Trump does not like the market going down. So anytime the market goes down, he'll come out and say something to try to get the market to rally again. So now he claims to get a peace deal in the works, but who knows? We'll see what happens there, but I wouldn't be too optimistic just yet. But the market sure liked it when he said that today. So I took 3 trades today. We'll go over some of those levels. So the first one we were watching this morning, well, yesterday we locked in these levels on Google. Remember, it came down yesterday and was trapped in that couple dollar range all afternoon. Well, first thing this morning, we broke under that level that we had marked out yesterday, and it wasn't the easiest trade because I don't trade within the first 15 minutes, and the first 15-minute candle just tanked all the way down here. That was a 56 to 4, that was a $9 candle the first 15 minutes. That makes for a really tough trade because it kind of, sometimes the stock will use all its energy in the first 15 minutes, and then the rest of the day you'll be fighting the trend or whatever. So the first 15-minute candle like this, it's never really an ideal thing for me to trade. So But I really like this level, as this level was such a big level that I really wanted to trade it. So I waited on it, and the next 15-minute candle pulled up a little bit. But here's the thing with these is it doesn't really matter. Like, it's not, if you enter this trade here, where's your stop loss? Your stop loss is all the way up here. And that really sucks because that's still a $4 move in there. You can be down a couple $100 before you know it if you aren't careful. So I would have liked this pullback to come all the way up here to enter here, because if I did end up entering here because I saw this big wick, and then I thought it was, I guess greed got a hold of me, and I decided to enter. I got a good entry on this candle. I put my stop at the high of this candle. I was not going to hold all the way up here. So ideally the stock would have pushed up unto this level, but obviously it didn't, and I really wanted to get in on this short. So I entered here and put my stop loss on top of this 15-minute candle. That's a more aggressive approach than I like to take, but sometimes you have to if you want to be a part, and I thought this might be a bigger move. So we started chopping sideways here, and then what I normally do, if I see a stock doesn't want to get through a level, so for some reason it didn't want to drop below this level. So what I do is I'll mark this low, I turn to the hourly candle. Let's go back and see if there's any, I'll turn the 4-hour on. So we're here, can't get through there. We come back here, see that area was a lot of support back here. I didn't notice that at first when I entered the trade, but as soon as I saw that the stock wasn't dropping below my level, I come back and check, and I noticed that this was an area of support before. So therefore I just moved my stop down, and I stopped out at basically break even. And actually I started looking for a long here. I'll talk about that more later, but I didn't get filled. I set an order for a long here. It would have turned out to be a great play, but so I ended up here. Same problem that Google had. It didn't come up as far as I would have liked it to, but it bounced a little bit here, and I entered, took profits on this first drop, profits here, and then I stopped out when it came back over my level here. So that was my biggest trade of the day. And then Amazon didn't really do much today. It's an inside day. You could have played it long this afternoon, but wasn't much of a setup. So had a good trade on Microsoft, had a break-even trade on Google this morning, and then this afternoon I was watching for Apple. I knew that Apple was going to be the stock I wanted to long if there was any long opportunities because of this level we looked at yesterday. So that was the low of yesterday. I really wanted to get long Apple down there, but it never came down to get me. But this morning when all the other stocks were selling off, Apple was still holding above yesterday's low when Google and Microsoft were below yesterday's low. So I knew that Apple was a little stronger, so I waited until I really wanted this to come all the way down to this level, but it never did, and then the SPY started trending back up, and I turned on the 15-minute candle, 15-minute chart, and here this afternoon we had this little double bottom happen here. So I entered right here on this double bottom with my stop here, and it ended up being a really good trade this afternoon. So obviously got helped out with the Trump coming out and making an announcement about Iran, but sometimes when the stock is really strong, it doesn't want to come down to your levels. You have to improvise, and like it really doesn't. It's not as much as getting a perfect entry. It's knowing where your stop loss are. So I had this double bottom here. I put my stop loss here. I wasn't going to let it come all the way back down to here. I would have liked to enter further down, but sometimes it doesn't come back to your level and you have to readjust your game plan. And in this case, it really worked out. And if it didn't work out, I would have stopped out here and held and then I would have re-entered if it came down here. But real nice push up on Apple, but it's not much volume there today again, so we'll see what happens there tomorrow. So that's what happened today. It's been a pretty good week so far, and we're set up perfectly for tomorrow. So Fridays can get a little wild, so we already made, so far this week, 1,600. So tomorrow we get to be patient and sit back and make the market come to us. There's no better feeling than being on top of the market, meaning that even if I don't get a trade in tomorrow, I'll be happy. I made enough money for this week already. I don't have to chase anything. I can pick my levels, pick my spots, make the market come to me, and that's always an awesome feeling. So we'll see what happens, but I'm more excited about this tomorrow. SpaceX going public. I'm not going to buy into it by any means, but I'm excited to see what's going to happen with it. So I'm actually kind of nervous about the market with this. So you have SpaceX. I think you probably know what that is, but Elon Musk's space company is going public, and you can start buying shares in them on the market tomorrow. And they're expecting a valuation of $1.8 trillion. And they already raised $75 billion from retail, with an extra $250 billion from institutional investors. So I don't know how I feel about that. I definitely know I'm not going to buy in tomorrow. I'm guessing, if I had to guess, I think the stock might just tank tomorrow, but we'll have to see. But on a bigger picture, I am afraid that this might end up being the top of the market. Usually what happens is the markets operate in a cycle of fear and greed. And every time that fear is at its max, normally means the market's near a bottom. And every time greed is at its max, it normally means the market is close to a top. And with this much money pouring into SpaceX, and SpaceX is a great company. Elon Musk is one of the best people in the world today, in my opinion. But this company is not even profitable. They're losing like a couple $1 billion a year. But people are just betting on Elon Musk, and I don't blame them. But with this much money pouring into a bet like this, tells you that the amount of greed in the market right now. So I wouldn't be surprised to see the market take a little bit of a hit after this, but we'll see. Definitely going to be exciting. So stay tuned. Hopefully you had a good week this week. Let's stay patient and end the week strong tomorrow. We'll see you tomorrow after the market and see what happens.